3, 2, 1.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here, and I'm here with Scott. Scott, how you doing, my friend?
Good. You know, you would think I would get tired of that intro, but it just never gets old. That beautiful, sultry voice of yours.
I just love you, Jesus. But happy Sunday, my friend. As we start another work week, but sorry, I've been off work for like I've been off since last Tuesday, and I'm like, I have to go back to it. Like, God damn, like, you know how you have a long vacation and you're just like, oh man, like I'm technically being paid right now for doing nothing. I really wish I could just do this for another month or so.
Oh yeah, the paid time off is the best.
Yeah, I would prefer like another solid week, you know, just another solid week to just not answer phones and all that, but it's fine. But we've got a review here for Concrete Cowboy, which is the directorial debut of Ricky Staub is the guy's name. He was also a screenwriter on the film, along with his partner Dan Walzer, who is a producer and the other screenwriter on this. The crazy thing about this movie is that, this is the first thing either of them have done. I have their stuff up on Rotten Tomatoes, and they've got no credits outside of this movie. Mm-hmm. So
as directors, like I think he was on the crew for the Huntsman, Snow White and Huntsman. But who knows what he was doing? He could have been the boom, operator. Right.
But this is his first like chance to really step out, and I gotta say, hell of a cast. You get, Idris, I don't age, and I'm tall, dark, and handsome Elba.
As they call
and I just gotta say, man, I'm such a fan of Idris Elba. Like, not just because he's gonna be in the Suicide Squad, which already looks better than the piece of shit we got last time. And while Cats is a terrible fucking movie, like I get a weird sort of enjoyment out of seeing Idris Elba as a cat in that shit. But between that, Hobbs and Shaw, which I don't care what anyone says, I own Hobbs and Shaw. I fucking love Hobbs and Shaw. I will defend Hobbs and Shaw. But I mean, Idris Elba's got a hell of a career, man. Like I could go off on a whole thing about Luther alone, which not enough people have watched. Which if you haven't watched Luther, you should. It's on HBO Max. But you look at Zootopia, you look at Star Trek Beyond, where he's the villain in there. He's in Molly's Game, acting alongside Jennifer Chastain.
Pacific Rim, obviously. We all know.
Rim. I know you and Colin, we love you, bud, would just be like, really? You're not bringing up Pacific? Yes, Pacific Rim is great.
And The Wire, which is so fucking good, obviously.
And I was going to save The Wire for the last.
All right, sorry, I just got excited.
No. So The Wire is one of my favorite TV shows ever, and it bothers me that there are people who have not seen it, and there's a lot more people than you think. And I'm just like, people, watch The Wire. It's on HBO Max. Watch that shit. But between all that, man, we have Caleb McLaughlin, who plays Cole, who's Idris's son in the movie. We of course know him from Stranger Things. I mean, that's kind of a thing that people enjoy. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, man, while he plays Lucas on Stranger Things, we're getting to that point with the Stranger Things cast where, we always go to like, what are they going to do after the show? Right. And, Millie Bobby Brown is already branching out to do other projects. She wasn't great in Godzilla, but I thought she was great in Enola Holmes, like the other actors have done various other projects. But he's probably been the quietest one, I would say, out of them. I was like, oh, well, what's he gonna do? And I gotta say, man, hell of a start. If this is what he's going to be doing post Stranger Things, yes, more of this. This is good. So yeah, man, do you want to get in the synopsis of this?
Yeah, basically, so Cole, I mean, you could argue that Harp, who is Idris Elba's character, is the main character, but I would say Cole's the main character of this one. He, had some shit go on in school. Things are going the way that he and his mom want. So his mom ends up dropping him off at his dad's house in Philly, where turns out Harp is a cowboy, like legitimately a cowboy. Him and these other group of people raise horses in this, like, I don't know, not even an acre pasture within Philadelphia, within this urban area. And he going through it all. It's like it's a fairly by the book kind of coming of age tale where he gets kind of wrapped up in some street stuff with his friend Smush, played by Jarrell Jerome. And so it's basically him kind of choosing sides here between his dad and this new life that he's found for himself here, and like basically the street life. And yeah, I mean, I was so like pleasantly surprised with Cole and Caleb McLaughlin in this. Like, he showed some range. Like, damn.
He really did. So I'm gonna say my one real complaint about this movie. I'm gonna kind of get that out of the way. The movie's a little slow to start. I'd say like the first half hour, you're kind of like, all right, like it gives you pieces. It gives you like little like you've been to Costco, Scott. I give you like little Costco sample sizes. Like, all right, here's a little samples. Right, same, man. It's like, oh, you get a little bite here. Hey, Costco, give us free shit. But you get a little bite here, you get a little morsel here, and you're kind of like, all right. And I realized around the 30-minute mark is where the movie really does take off. I'll say for myself, man, being a person of color, I know the voice doesn't reflect that, but as a person
for you.
yeah, thanks, buddy. But Cole was pissing me off, man, to start this movie. I'm like, dude, I'm like, you need to shut up, because he gets the movie starts with him getting this fight at school, as you mentioned, and there is this point, and I'm blanking on the joke, but it's it's similar to that joke of, if you see, if you hear asshole everywhere that you go and you cut everyone out, you might be the asshole. Right. Like, it's that thing of, he keeps getting the fights and is going, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. And it's like, yeah, it might be you, man. And when his mom, the movie kind of hits you hard from jump, because she has this very black mother reaction where she just starts slapping at him, which, again, having a black mother, that is a fucking thing. But where she just flat out goes like, I don't know what to do with you anymore. Like, she's like, I've tried and she feels like she's at the end of her rope. And that was something I went, kid, you're really just not, you're not making her job any easier. So,
which is, when it's like the age-old teenage plight there, right? Like, you feel like you can't reach them, but they're doing things like you're trying to get to them and you can't. And yeah, like, it opens with that, and then it also opens when she gets to Harp's place and drops him off, and he's like, where are we going? Like, he had no idea where they were going the whole time. They get there, his clothes are in bags, throws them out, and like, it's like, okay, like, hey, where are you? Like, trying to call Harp, and he's not there. And in the moment Cole gets out of the car, she like closes the door, locks it, and just like there's this scene of him banging on the window and be like, come on, this is not cool. Like, you gotta let me in. You can't leave me here. And it just like gets so real, and she's in tears too, because like, obviously she doesn't want to leave her son there, but she's at her wit's end. And then her just driving off is just like the perfect perfect beginning for that is just like setting the scene of him clearly being this troubled kid, but you know, we don't know good or bad. They didn't show the fight. They didn't really show his interaction with other kids. So it's not like, oh, this kid's an asshole or whatever. It's just like you kind of pick it up from there and kind of have to determine it for yourself.
So for me, I think they showed that he was a dickhead kind of from jump. Like the moment that he goes he could have easily gone like, oh man, like you're taking me to my dad's. I don't know him. The fact he's like, I don't know that nigga. It's like, well, all right, now you're just being a prick about it. Like I get you're mad, but and the other thing is too, yes, he's clearly in a place that, you know, he's not aware of, and you know, this is all new to him and all that. But the amount of just shit that it's almost like he goes out of his way to get into trouble. I'm like, kid, like, come on, man. Like you need to stop being a douchebag. And that comes really in the form of, as you mentioned, Smush, who's played by I'm gonna say
I think it's Jerome.
Jerome. And you know him as the grown-up version of the guy that Little had his argument with in Moonlight. That's where I recognized him. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, you're in this. Hell yeah. And I will say, man, fuck Smush, man. Smush sucked, man. But honestly,
I might disagree with, like, yeah, fuck him. Yes. But they reveal a side of him, and because this movie like came out, well, I guess it didn't come out recently, but because they reveal this part of him, like, that lends you to an understanding of what he's doing, like the reasons that he's doing, which I appreciated. But like, yes, I mean, he plays that role in Cole's life of like he's like the bad influence, obviously. Like, yes, he's a drug dealer. He wants to get him into that. He got him some new Jordans, like, and then like I just really appreciated this movie because they kind of, like, Cole had to really fight his way through a lot of this shit to figure out what he wanted. Obviously, like, we can watch this and be like, you're an idiot. You should have, you know, stuck with Harp. But, you know, Harp was not, like, the best dad. Like, he couldn't really convey his feelings to him and things like that. But I really liked how they kind of allowed his character to figure it out.
So, I mean, I will give you that. Like, look, I mean, you know, 17 for me feels like, you know, fucking forever ago. But,
it is forever ago.
Yeah, old man Hunter here, listen to my Sony Walkman. But you know, watching Blue's Clues. I don't know, I wasn't why, but it's, and I think, and I'll be, you know, incredibly honest here, as we always are on here. Just as a person of color, watching him, you know, out in, you know, these streets, as the kids say, in the ghetto, yeah, watching that shit. So the first interaction he has with this drug dealer that Smush works for, the first thing the drug dealer notices are Jordans. I went, dude, I'm like, take the off ramp, kid. Like, this is one of those times you need to just fucking peace out. And where things end up, because I actually do want to I'm going to try to stay vague on a couple things, but where that ends up, I just went, kid, like, this is a wake-up call, motherfucker. Like, this is the universe going, hey, don't do this. And, you know, so I believe every now and then the universe throws things out like that for people. And this was a very clear, you know, stop doing this.
Right.
But I love the way that Cole eventually does actually kind of start to lean into everything. The fact is, though, and I don't know about you, man, growing up, I had to do a lot more yard work than I would ever want to do as an adult. Like, I will gladly play someone like, mowing the lawn. Maybe I'll pay a kid to do this shit. But there is no quicker way to change someone's attitude than fucking manual labor. And what he was doing, that was some pun intended shit work. But him having to go into the stables and clear those out and all that. I mean, talking to Alea about it, she told me about how incredibly not fun that shit is.
Yeah.
Again, pun intended. But I don't know about you, man, but doing yard work as a kid, and I was talking to James about this, you always have that time or two early on when we first started doing yard work where you're clearly making things harder on yourself. Right. And like you're just not working smart. Because when I watch this and Caleb is, grabbing a shovel full of shit and walking out to the what they call it, the shit pile or the
some dumpster.
Shit dumpster or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's doing it a shovel at a time. My first thought, I even said it out loud, I'm like, dude, get a fucking wheelbarrow. Like, what are you doing? But it's this guy in a wheelchair who, tells him, like, kid, you are working so incredibly dumb right now. It's not even funny. Like, you need to stop. But I love that scene. And once the movie gets steam, it really never loses it, even in the, quote, quieter moments. I love the fact that the woman who runs the stables, even says, the horses are the only thing that need to be broken around here. And I went, yeah. I'm like, yeah, your shitty attitude needs to be broken because you won't shut the fuck up. And that, I think, was the thing that was bothering me the most. Because, yes, while I admit I was not nearly as mouthy as this kid, at least till I got to my journal, but I was not as mouthy as this kid, but this kid just will not be quiet. And he's burning bridges at an almost hilarious rate for like the first 30 minutes because he tells his dad, like, I'm not staying here. And he, and Harp goes, look, man, door stays locked. Like the moment, sun comes down or whatever. And then he, Smush had told him earlier, like, oh yeah, come hang out with my, you can crash over with me and my girl, which, that's always a really considerate thing to offer up your partner's place without running it by them. So when he shows up, she goes, motherfucker, like, I'm not adopting stray cats like your bitch ass, like almost verbatim. And so he ends up sleeping in one of the stables. And one thing about this movie that I really appreciate is that there are these moments that are captured that I went, that's fucking beautiful. There's this moment where Caleb sneaks into the stables because it's the only place he can find to sleep. And this horse is like right up in his face. But the way it's shot, like they kind of pull the shot out so that you really see the shadows of the horse's like long face and, Cole's right there. Like it's a really beautiful shot. And there's a lot of shots like that in the film. I just went, like for first time director, I'm really quite impressed with how, a lot of this is shot. Yeah. Kind of your thoughts on the cinematography.
Yeah. I mean, it was like a really beautiful film. We've been watching a lot of really beautiful, like beautifully shot films lately. I feel like, Godzilla was one of those, but there was just some moments, like you said, that really like draw some emotional connection here. And there's a moment when one of the horses gets away and they have to kind of get it back and tame it again. And like, there's a moment where they're just on a baseball field and it starts to rain and just like a really kind of almost like a intimate moment you're sharing there with the two of them. And there's just a lot of different scenes where you just have like this complete juxtaposition of like Philadelphia, which is like very, very urban, and like is like row houses, so it's like there's not even a lot of space in between houses. So when they have this kind of pasture area, which is really kind of rare there, like you can really see how it differs. And the stables they have is in kind of this like rundown building, and just like you could really feel it and like smell it and be in it. So yeah, I mean, I was very impressed with that. I think there was redeemable qualities with Cole. I didn't think he was like bad mouthy and stuff all the time. I just feel like he was a super confused kid that like was really trying to figure out who he was being a young kid, and like I didn't quite get that from him. Like, I understand that he made some decisions that were like wrong, and that, you know, obviously it's easy to look at it from this view, but I think it's more portraying what a lot of kids have to go through, I assume, is like making those decisions as to who you want to be, and like getting out, and choosing sides, essentially, with I feel like a lot of people have to end up doing. And you could feel his pain, because, like, you know, there's a point that I think is the best part of this movie is him and Harp, and he you know, he had been working with them for a little bit, and like he just is not getting in reciprocation from his dad, and he's like, "Why do you hate me, man?" And he just like breaks down. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, it's just such an intense moment between him and Harp, and like that like love that he's seeking from somebody. Like, that he just wants that from anybody. And so that kind of, to me, that brought me back to like having a little bit more empathy for him, that like, yeah, he's acting out, but maybe these are the reasons why. And like him just searching for that, you know, emotion and love from his dad, and his dad really like not really almost knowing how to. And and then, like, you know, later on shit happens, and then he's there for him again, and then it's just like kind of a accumulation of that I thought was really beautiful, actually, to be honest.
No, and I agree with you. I think so. My frustration really from him comes on the whole fact that Harp went like, look, dude, if you're gonna be staying here, you know, you can't be hanging out with Smush. And the next day he's hanging out with Smush again. I'm like, you fucking like that's where my biggest point of just frustration comes from him. Because you're right, man. And I, it's one of those things where it's almost hard to watch movies like this, because, you know, you go like, oh, you're a teenager, and you just like, you don't fucking know. Like, you just don't know. Yeah,
there's no way for you to understand.
Yeah, but you're on such a dangerous path right now. Like, you don't even, so like, that's where my frustration was coming from. But to your point, you're right, man. Like, he is like, as Harp even told him, like, you're a boy, you know, you're out in the streets one night, you're not a man. I was like, I was like, talk that talk, Idris. Like, that is 1,000% correct. But that scene that you're referring to, where we find out kind of the origins of Cole's name, that brought me to tears. I was like, holy crap. Like, and to your point, that scene is just so beautifully well done. You people, I think, will be surprised. Idris Elba is in the movie less than I thought he would be.
For sure.
Like, that was like, not that that's a bad thing, because there are other characters. And I'll be real, man, the thing that broke me, that really just made me go, well, shit. And I'm trying to find the actor, but there's this gentleman who's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I was trying to think, is that Michael Taban? Is that guy? I can't tell if he's the
no,
one.
I don't think. Okay. I don't think that's him. That was the drug dealer, I want to say.
Oh, right. Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
But I can't find the guy's name.
Well, you know why it might be hard to, is because what we'll, you know, I don't know if this is like a spoiler, but some of these people are real. They're not. Yes, they're not actors, and he is one of them.
And I would tell people to, like, honestly sit through the credits. You'll know when to stop watching. But there's a scene of something that happens with him. That's a good thing. And it was something that I really just started crying. I was like, because I'm sitting there watching it, because there's this thing that Harp is doing in the movie early on. And you're kind of like, why is he doing this? Like, all right. And then they bring it back in a way. And I went, oh, that's what he was doing. And then I'm like, oh God, if this thing is because of this, I'm like, oh fuck. And then I just started crying, man. Like, I was crying hard. I actually had to pause the movie.
I think it's Jamil Pratis, because his name's Paris, I think.
Yes. The movie, But he was great because he's the one that that basically tells Cole, like, I'm gonna break your ass today. Like, you're gonna smile, you're gonna you're gonna wheel all this shit up in this truck. Like I really like him, and it's really crazy when Cole was rolling literally the shit uphill. The director makes this really interesting choice to do like a to switch perspectives as far as how it's shot, and I thought that was actually a really clever thing. And there's some camera cuts in this movie that I went, wow, okay, I really like this. A good use of slow-mo too with some of the racing. There's a race between two horses in this. I went, well, shit, I didn't know I needed that, but yeah, fuck yeah, let's go. As far as complaints here, as we wrap up here, I mentioned I think some people will be a little taken back by the fact that Idris isn't in this as much as you might think, but he really makes every scene he's in count. Yeah, right. Like in a way that I went, wow, okay. My frustration with parts of Cole's character, again, he's a teenager, he's a dumb teenager, but he is a teenager, and you don't know what which I would
argue is like less about the the choice of his character, right? Like, would you say that the directors or writers, like, would you say that's a fault of theirs, or just like the way that his character was portrayed by Caleb?
I just think it's a fault of teenagers, honestly, because teenagers, let's be real, like, teenagers are just shitty. If you don't think teenagers are shitty, I'd highly recommend you walk into any retail store and sit there for 10 minutes. But teenagers suck, and they think they know everything, which Cole clearly thinks he does. And, that's just a product of growing up and, getting checked and learning, oh, that's bad, shouldn't do this, but once you get where his story ends up, I went, you know what? Yeah. Like, I'm all about this. I didn't we haven't get a chance to even mention him, but, Leroy, who's played by Method Man. Method Man's turned into a hell of an actor, man. Like he really has. And I think that's something that really needs to be, really celebrated, because people forget, man, he's in fucking Garden State, man. Method Man is a much better actor, and he was actually in this Netflix show, Teenage Bounty Hunters, that was surprisingly good. But yeah, Method Man's just in a lot of good stuff, and I'm really happy for Method Man, because I've just been, Wu-Tang Clans for the children and Hunters as well, but I'm just a huge fan of his, so I was really happy to see him in this, and he actually has a very good role, and he's going toe-to-toe with Idris in a couple scenes. I went, okay, man, you're more than holding your own. So, really, as far as complaints, that's really all I've got. I'm gonna just give my grade now. I'll throw it back to you. I'm really kind of torn, because I've been back and forth between B+ and A- on this. I'm like, well... But I think about, if I'd seen this in a theater, which, oh my god, I get to go to the theater in a couple weeks. If I saw this at full price in a theater, I'd go, yeah, that was worth it. I enjoyed that. That was worth $10. So I'm gonna give this an A-. Not perfect. It's under 2 hours, which, thank you, movies in general, that are under 2 hours. Like, please do that more if you can. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, so I'm gonna go A- on this. But yeah, Scott, your final thoughts and your grade, sir.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about it, and we've covered most everything, and part of it is because there's not like a super complicated plot, I would say. Like, it kind of shows its hand, and then you follow Cole through his journey, and like I said, it's kind of a by the book, coming of age kind of tale here. But I just love the uniqueness of this, and that, like, I thought before I watched it, I was going to be like, this is going to be too unbelievable, that, like, why are there people riding horses in the middle of Philly? Like, that doesn't seem like, how are they going to explain this? And then as it went on and like they started to explain it kind of themselves, I love like the creativity and the uniqueness of this story. And then, you know, pile on Idris Elba and Caleb McLaughlin, I think, was really amazing in this.
Yes, he was.
A bunch of great supporting casts around him. And then, like, finding out that some of these people were not actually actors, I really enjoyed Isha's character.
Yes.
Who kind of turns into Cole's love interest a little bit. And just, like, in a very sweet way. Like, it wasn't, like, Ivana Mercedes is her name. Just, like, in a very, like, tame, like, they're not, like, you know, fucking...
Like a horse?
Yeah, fucking in the hay, you know, which is, like, I wouldn't, you know, take anything off the grade if it was that way, but it really played into the tone of this movie, and I really appreciated that as well. But yeah,
so sorry, are you saying that if they were fucking in the hay, it would have been a horse of a different color?
Yeah, it would have been a... I
had that joke written down. I had to find a way later.
Glad you got it in, Hunter.
Thank you.
I really liked it, and then I went and looked, and it hasn't gotten like great reviews. It hasn't gotten bad reviews, but it hasn't gotten like amazing reviews. And looking through the ones that were critical of it, I just didn't really find anything. They didn't really have a good reason. It was just kind of like it's a little bit sleepy, and it like where the main critiques just got kind of slow, and maybe it was a little uneven. But I just think that's kind of being a little bit nitpicky. I think it's like a really beautiful movie. I don't think it's perfect. Like, it is a little slow, I would say, in the beginning. I would agree with you. And
yeah,
like things happen, but like maybe not in a super concise way. But it's all about Cole, and I think that's like if you latch on to him and really get sucked into his character, you're gonna love this movie. And the fact that the things that they reveal at the end about who these people were in real life, I think is really cool too. So I would also encourage people to continue watching. But yeah, I think an A- is a great grade for this. Like, this might be like a sneaky honorable mention of the year for me. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
I could see this being like a, you know, maybe in my top 15 or something like that. It's not something that like I'm excited about, because it's like almost hard to watch because like of the shit that Cole goes through, and that like there's some really emotional parts of this. But highly recommend for sure. But I think A- is a good grade for this.
Yeah, and honestly, this is something. So I'll be real, man. I did not know that the Black Cowboy like this, that this was a thing in Philly. I had no idea, and I'll be real, man. Kind of makes me go, if I ever go to Philly, which I would go to interview the cast of It's Always Sunny. I'd never go to a fucking Eagles game because the Eagles suck. But I mean, I would try to look into this, man, because I'm like, wow, okay, like, I'll be real, man. When I went to that country concert and I was all dressed Black Cowboy, I was like, man, not really a lot of templates on how to do how to do this. Right. So it was really cool to actually see Black Cowboys and there's that, you know, that very classic, you know, talking around the you know, talking around the fire sort of thing, and really hearing how everything got started and about the lore of it. I went, this is really beautiful and really well done, to your point. I really enjoyed all of that. So it's something I'm going to be looking into more, honestly. And at the end of the day,
it also reminded me of, you know, when a lot of the protests were going on last summer and into the fall. Like, I noticed that there were like Black Cowboys that would attend some of those, and like it's just now kind of clicking that might have been the same group of people that attended some of those protests and things like that. So that kind of blew me away too.
Yeah, like I really enjoyed this, and I would really encourage people to watch it because I think it's well worth your time. But yeah,
and it's on Netflix too. It's not going to cost you anything.
Exactly. I mean, time is valuable, but this is by no means. I never felt like I was wasting my time with this at any point. I was like, oh, this is good. If you want to waste your time, watch Thunder Force. But
not even gonna respond to that.
What are you talking about? but
you know how much I love Melissa McCarthy, all right?
I know. Like I said, go on YouTube and look up the crab bits if you want to laugh. Outside of that, just but not to be crabby, Scott. But anyway,
yeah, being a little bit snippy right now.
Nice, but Concrete Cowboy, everyone, have you seen it? What did you think? Let us know in the comments. You can like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. You can follow our gaming page on Facebook as well at Real Pineapple Games. That's REEL Pineapple Games. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. And you can follow Scott on Twitter at
Newman the First. And
don't forget to like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Podbean, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, Tune Up, to name a couple spots. Thank you so much again for listening. We will have reviews up here in the next week for Falcon Winter Soldier, which, oh my God, I'm so excited to talk about that show. Please be a great series finale. Have reviews up for the first Fast and Furious. So sorry, the Fast and the Furious, because the fourth one is Fast and Furious, because they just drop the and go new title. Because why not? And we'll have a review up for The Father as well, which that review's done, and man, that's a hard movie to watch, but oh, such a great movie. Anthony Hopkins, you are brilliant actor, sir. But everyone, thank you so much for listening again. Please stay safe out there. Wear a mask, get your COVID shot, take care of each other, and we will talk to you soon.
Peace.